Lovely. We are taking off. We are live on air right here, 7:14 in the morning, Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome to KUTV Rise Today. We're glad that you're able to join us from wherever you're watching from. Please do tell us where that is and also what time it is if you're watching us from outside this country. It is 11th April, this Tuesday. I'm bringing Biashara Tuesday to you so you can interact with us on all social media platforms under the hashtag. If you use the hashtag Biashara Tuesday, I can easily get to see what your feedback looks like and what your interactions are like as we go on with the show. The weather this morning in Nairobi is a bit chilly. It's been raining the whole night, so expect foggy mornings and also a bit slippery on the road. So drive carefully if you're going to work or to your places of business. For civil servants' salaries and another 8 billion to pay for their pensions as well. Several staff working in these ministries are saying they have not been paid, and now the cabinet secretary for this National Treasury and Economic Planning, Professor Njuguna Ndungu, now warns of tough times ahead, saying that the government is in a financial fix and there's nowhere to get more funds from. This looks like the underperforming of revenues in the Republic and also limited access to finance due to that narrowing headroom in borrowing from other financial institutions and countries abroad has hit hard in counties, and now civil servants continue to suffer. However, when you look at the flip side, on top of business this morning, the Business Daily will be highlighting the state salary allocated to one Mama Ngina, which is now hitting a new high of 679,000 per month, and this is a pay increase from 568,000, which was theirs before. This is the former President Uhuru Kenyatta's mother, who's now receiving half of the president's pension, even as civil servants continue to suffer. At the same time, you take a look at this allocation to the former President Uhuru Kenyatta estimated monthly pay. The law allows the Treasury to allocate or to provide a retired president with monthly pensions of 693,000 amongst other perks, which total up to 1.3 million every single month. So Mr. Kenyatta has been receiving 1.32 million monthly pay from December 1st and was paid a lump sum of 39 million Kenyan shillings according to these treasury documents that I have here. That is what I would like us to chew on, as KRA says its revenue collection is hitting a new high of 8% growth this year. So this comes amidst this delay of salaries for civil servants and this disbursement of funds to the counties. So the question begs, where are the funds collected by KRA being channeled to? So that is the conversation we're having this morning. You can tweet us out or send a message on all the SMS/WhatsApp platforms that you can see there on your screen. But later on, we are shifting away from politics and a discussion of the economic situation of the Republic to what the youth are doing out there. Integration of environmental education, conservation, and waste management, for example, is one of those things that Teach for Kenya, a non-governmental organization, is trying to do to provide more teaching methodologies and also provide leadership skills across schools in the country. They're doing this on their own regard and also in partnership with the Ministry of Education. If you're an education stakeholder out there, you want to know how to integrate this within your curriculum, you can check out that conversation. Is coming up later on this show. We are also having a look at technology today, but a bit of a mix between technology and medicine. How does modern technology affect delivery of medicine, and how can we use it effectively to ensure that there is very efficient delivery of care from these caregivers, of course, to the patients and the Republic at large? And currently, more than 4,000 interns who are supposed to be posted across various health institutions in the country are yet to receive this allocation. What happens to this number of doctors who are supposed to be providing these services but are yet, of course, to be allocated to the counties or to the respective counties where they are supposed to be posted at? Austin Omondi is a medical officer intern, and he will be here with us today on the show to highlight on this and also various issues which are affecting healthcare in the Republic. Another conversation you should look forward to is Vijana African Voices Initiative, and they're here today to see how the youth youth can be involved, or what role we can play in ensuring that there's gender equality and also promoting this in the diverse fields that we interact at every single day. I'll be telling you who is joining me on set in this different conversation that we're having here. But if you know any of them, please do tag them on our social media handles, as you tag us as well at KUTV Kenya, and also tag me on my personal handles at Richard_OKENYE. My name is Richard OKENYE. I'll be the host all the way to the end of the show at around 10 in the morning. Please do tweet me out. I love to read your feedback and interact with you. Keep this show warm. It's a cold morning out there. Going also to have a look at Ma3 route, how are the roads doing, and we'll coming back with that roundup, and then news updates and much more happening in this wholesome show of Biashara Tuesday. Welcome. Let's kick it off. Remember, we are broadcasting this program live on our YouTube, that is KUTV Kenya Live, and also you can find us on Facebook at KUTV Kenya. You can find there, and also please do leave a comment. We love to see what you have to say about the various happenings of the Republic, and also these updates on traffic that I am taking a look at courtesy of Ma3 route, the current transport and traffic conditions for the city of Nairobi. But kama uko nje ya Nairobi, please also niambie how it looks like there. The impeccable and commanding sound of the Ruiru Eagle. It's called the Ruiru Eagle, the heaviest and the longest commuter train in Kenya. I didn't know it's called the Ruiru Eagle, but now Outer Ring Road KE is telling us here on Twitter it was late today by 8 minutes. So if you're along the way, if you're in Mutindo stage, you should be able to get it this morning. It's a bit late. Here, there's also an update coming from roundabout at Allsops. If you're boarding a matatu hadi Allsops to Taj Mahal roundabout, take another one to GM General. Please enjoy the start of that Enterprise Road. So it looks like the link up between Allsops all the way to the Taj Mahal roundabout has been improved, the Enterprise Road. It's the first time we're receiving positive updates this morning on those roads. How's the traffic situation in your end? Outer Ring Road kunakaa vizuri sana. This location I'm receiving updates, inakaa watu wameogopa mvua. That's the comment here from Kalimantakali. Also telling us watu wa Thika Road, amkeni, msipate traffic. It's raining today. Drive carefully. A fatal accident at Globe Cinema. That is yesterday, and the accident vehicle is still intact. The police have some serious work there to do. So that's just a comment on what happened yesterday night. Mombasa Road, I see here also building up a bit, but also you can use the expressway as always. Seems there's no problem this morning, so sometimes it's good to report positive news, but if you have any more updates from those roads, we'd love to have a look at them. Right about now, I'll be looking at the news updates coming out of the world. KUTV news updates on KUTV Rise today. Don't go too far. The government cash crisis, banditry attacks over in the Rift region of the Republic, and a mega fire outbreak are some of the things that are coming to you in the news updates that I'm relaying to you in just a short while. So do not despair and don't go too far. However, just trying to tell you what you should expect in the conversations of the day here this morning. Urban gardening is one of those things that Teach for Kenya fellows are trying to do. Teach for Kenya is a non-governmental organization organization which is trying to bring new teaching methodologies and also provide leadership skills. Their main focus is integration of environmental education, conservation, and waste management. And this is within primary schools and also secondary schools in the Republic. I'll be speaking with Bedol Kasi Ogweno. He's joining me here to talk to us about that urban gardening, but also Lydia Owire is here, and she will as well tell us on how to build resilience through urban gardening and climate education. Climate action, climate education in these times where the Republic and many places around the world are suffering in terms of their food basket. How can we adjust? How can we teach agriculture in a new way to empower ourselves and also to build resilience through urban gardening? So if you're someone in the urban settlements and would like to know how to install this within your own residential place, this is a conversation that you should be tuning in for. But as well, later, Vijana African Voices Initiative is also a youth-led organization which is trying to take a look at the role of young people in promoting youth empowerment and gender equality. How can you use social media to promote youth empowerment and gender equality, and also how can you do it at your small scale? Susan Mukuhi is a youth advocate. She's with Vijana African Voices. She'll be here as well, and joined by Evans Macharia, who's also a founder of that youth-led organization called Vijana African Voices. The role of young people in promoting youth empowerment and gender equality. It's important that we have a look at that even as we interact in our places of work and also business. Austin Omondi is a medical officer intern who will be posted very soon at the Kiambu Hospital, but also he is here to tell us what the situation looks like for this more than 4,000 unemployed doctors in the Republic. What is the current state of affairs in the healthcare in the country, especially in regards to this 4,000 unemployed doctors, and also taking a shift a bit to have a look at modern technology. How can we use modern technology to improve the practice of medicine in the Republic and also globally as well? So these conversations are all packed in this show, Biashara Tuesday. Tag us on all social media platforms. We'll be interacting with you. But now, those news updates are coming to you. Don't go far. Right, let's get into it. 3 people have been killed by bandits in Samburu County during an attack in the area at around 1 p.m. yesterday. 1 person is reported to have been killed at Morijo area and 2 were killed at Lorian area. The attack happened even as the government intensifies security operation in the county.
Samburu has currently been on the hit by banditry attacks, an event which has caused fear among the citizens as the bandits' attacks continue rising, leading to loss of lives as well as livestock. As Kenyans celebrate Easter holiday, residents of Samburu County are mourning the death of their relatives and friends. Earlier today, 3 people were killed and their bodies moved to Samburu County Hospital morgue. Christopher Lekalepi, who is a Samburu peace elder, blamed the government for not doing enough, saying that since the operation started, many lives have been lost in the hands of bandits.
Nataka kusema kwamba tumepoteza watu wengi tangu operation itangazwe. Na sijui ni kama operation imekuwa operation na kuja kutangaza tu kutangaza maiti.
Lesulengo on his part has urged the government to provide the residents with guns as a way of protecting themselves.
Sasa sisi nataka serikali atuangalie wala aturudishie bunduki kama mbeleni tujitetee.
Although the government is battling with the bandits, many attacks have been reported in the region, leaving residents in fear. Dorothy Musyoka, KUTV.
Moving over to Kakamega County, following two fire incidents that razed down dormitories at St. Peter's Boys and Kivayo Boys High Schools in Kakamega County, destroying hundreds of properties, leaders led by Kakamega Deputy Governor Ayub Savula visited St. Peter's Boys High School to offer donations to the affected students. Fortunately, students went unharmed, but as Ruth Wanjiru now reports, 6 students have been so far arrested in connection to that fire tragedy.
About 350 students were yesterday left without beddings after 2 fire incidents were witnessed at the St. Peter's Mumias High School and Kivoya Boys High School in Kakamega County. The first fire incident was reported at the St. Peter's High School, where a dormitory that accommodates 90 students was burned to the ground. According to the school's principal, Mr. Crispinus Owino, the affected students lost their beddings as well as personal effects. In addition, Mr. Crispinus thanked the Kakamega County government for acting swiftly and putting out the fire, as well as donating beddings for the affected students.
To the dormitory, we found out that the dormitory was on fire and all the students' property were destroyed. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to thank the county government, because yesterday they brought fire brigade that was able to put off the fire.
At Kivoya Boys High School, a similar incident saw 2 dormitories that accommodate about 260 students burned to the ground. In relation to the incident, 6 students suspected to have been involved in starting the fire have been arrested as part of ongoing investigations. Following the tragedy, various leaders led by Kakamega County Deputy Governor Ayub Savula offered donation to the affected students at the St. Peter's Boys High School and urged the students to reveal the culprits for their own safety.
The school is becoming sort of indisciplined because of characters of a few students. And I'm encouraging you students, kindly reveal the culprits to the administration, so that action can be taken.
If you don't report them, they are likely to go to another dormitory.
As investigations into the 2 incidents continue, no students has been reported harmed in either of the school. Ruth Wanjiru, KU TV.
Right, sad scenes there coming out of Kakamega County. Condolences, of course, to those families of the students who have been involved in this incident. Bipartisan talks between Kenya Kwanza Alliance and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party will begin this week, as the ruling coalition is set to select its representatives to the 14-member committee today. Azimio has already picked 7 lawmakers who will engage in the discussions on the ongoing recruitment of commissioners to the Electoral Commission IEBC, amongst other issues it listed on Thursday last week.
President William Ruto has been adamant that only Parliament can address the opposition's concern on the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission IEBC. This comes after an agreement was struck between the 2 coalitions, with Kenya's President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga having agreed to hold bipartisan talks through Parliament to resolve issues raised by Azimio.
It is in this context that we make this counter-offer to Hon. Ruto's call for dialogue.
Considering the matters raised by our friends in the opposition, I suggest a bipartisan engagement in Parliament on the reconstitution of the IEBC panel within the parameters of the law.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga unveiled a 7-member technical committee to lead Azimio in the bipartisan talks with the government, who include Ledama Olekina, Edwin Sifuna, Enoch Wambua, Amina Mnyanzi, Millie Odhiambo, David Kosing, and Otiende Amolo. Raila, however, cautioned to return to the streets if the talks are unsuccessful.
We go into these negotiations holding a firm belief that our cause is just, our intentions are pure, and our goal is patriotic. We go into these talks convinced that some issues, in particular, lowering the price of food, is urgent, can't wait, and does not even need the talks.
According to political analysts, they have stated that there are a lot of issues that led to the mass protest. Therefore, there need to be an extension of the bipartisan dialogue in order to cover the multitude of issues being experienced in the country. Coming exactly 7 days after President William Ruto offered the opposition boss an olive branch and proposed bipartisan talks instead of mass action, the DP insisted that Raila should first admit Ruto won the election.
Before we can even agree to even talk to him, he must first acknowledge in public that President William Ruto is the president of Kenya. So the issue of us having a discussion does not even arise because he says he doesn't recognize William Ruto as president. So how do you talk to somebody who doesn't recognize your legitimacy?
Last week, President Ruto met with Kenya Kwanza members of parliament, where it is said he instructed them to make the negotiation process successful to prevent further destruction of properties as the Azimio team threatens to revive the protest if the talks fail. Edward Nyamo, KUTV, Nairobi.
Right, as preparation for those bipartisan talks continue, civil servants in Kenya have been warned to brace themselves for more salary delays amid a worsening economic situation in the Republic. National Treasury and Economic Planning Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u stated that the national government is facing financial constraints, saying it has been caught between underperforming revenues and limited access to finance as they seek to narrow the borrowing headroom in the country.
The national government is caught between two extremes: high level of debt financing and financing constraints due to limited access to finance in the domestic and international financial market. On average, Treasury requires about 50 billion monthly for civil servant salaries and another 8 billion for payments of pensions. According to National Treasury Principal Secretary Dr. Chris Kiptoo, and I quote, "The government is facing a financial crisis with the Kenya Revenue Authority having missed its latest revenue targets by a whopping 67 billion. This has led to Treasury struggling to raise funds for disbursement to counties and even to ministries, departments and agencies, with county governments owed 92.5 billion in delayed January, February and March equitable revenue share remittance." End of quote. However, according to the Treasury, the government collected 1.83 trillion between July 1st, 2022 and February 28, 2023. Out of these, 727 billion was used on current expenditure and 694 billion on public debt. Speaking in Nyeri over the weekend, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua admitted that the government had no money to pay salaries and remit to counties. The second in command blamed the handshake for the heavy debt burden that left the country in a bad economic state.
There is no way we can agree to a handshake because it has happened before and it ruined this country. It is true we are having challenges in paying salaries. We are having challenges in giving money to governors because the handshake government ruined this economy. They borrowed money left, right, and center. And because we are responsible government, we have to pay this money. Last week, some loans had matured. And they have to be paid because we have obligations. Whatever money we collect is what we spend. So what we have collected the last 2 weeks was sufficient to pay the loans we paid. What we are collecting this week will pay the salaries and other requirements.
Although KRA has not released collection figures for the last few months, it has indicated that tax collection has not grown into tandem with targets. This could be partly attributed to the leadership changes that have taken place at the institution since the new administration came to power. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Let's get back to the capital. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja yesterday led the county in celebrating Easter in a choral festival held at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC. Sakaja called upon unity among Nairobi County residents. The governor also said that he is working with the Ministry of Trade and Investments to establish an innovation center in the county.
As Christians from all over the world commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ today, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja led Nairobi in celebrating the occasion in a choral festival held at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Governor Sakaja, who quoted a biblical scripture, called upon Nairobians to live in unity without minding ethnic differences and reiterated that he is working with all leaders from across the political divide to ensure unity in the county.
We were just having a discussion. This is my brother. We were having a discussion. Nikasema sasa tumefanya Nairobi Festival. Na hiyo ni kama ilikuwa ya I don't know how to put it. Ya sherehe. Sasa ya kanisa tufanye gani?
Senator Edwin Sifuna reiterated that despite political differences, he will work with governor and support his development projects, including oversighting the expenditure of funds allocated to the county.
Governor, kwanza wacha niseme kwamba as your senator, and you know that I'm also a member of the County Public Accounts Committee, bado hii nitafanya oversight ya hii event. Nimesikia mkisema pesa walisave pesa kidogo mahali fulani na fulani, lakini lazima nichunguze, si ndio? Sio ndo mlinichagua nifanye?
Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria stated that he is working with the county government of Nairobi on a project to establish an innovation center worth 500 million at Nairobi's Jamhuri Showground.
Kitabu kila gavana nakuja, I am going to drive out cartels. Mwingine nakuja, going to drive out cartels. Na mimi pia niko na cartels. Cartels upande wa biashara. Cartels za watu wengine wachache wanataka kumonopolize watu wengi. And I'm also in the battle for that cartel.
We are putting together $500 million. Anatoa 250 million, mimi natoa 250 million. Nairobi tuweke center ya innovation na aggregation ya all our ideas, our startups, our young people wapate mahali ya kufanya kazi na biashara pale Ngong Road kwa ward ya DNG hapo showground.
The event, which involved competition in performances among different choirs, will see the winner walk away with 2 million shillings. Governor Sakaja says that the county government is committed to ensure that the event is held every year. Joseph Kiss, KUTV.
All right, that was quite a festival happening in Nairobi. If you did attend this, please do tell us how that went down. In Bomet County, however, the government has received 12,000 doses of rabies and 20,000 doses of anthrax. And this is following the recent report that we did of cases in that county. Bomet County Governor Hilary Barchok says the vaccination will be done jointly between the county government of Bomet and the Kenya Red Cross Society of the Bomet branch.
While dispatching the doses to sub-county veterinary officers, Bomet County Professor Hilary Barchok noted the rising cases of rabies and anthrax in Sotik and Bomet East sub-county, with over 3,000 people getting vaccinated. The governor said that the county government targets to increase the number. The governor has also noted that the stray dogs which are yet to be caught will be kept away so as to prevent them from biting people.
In the last 1 year, 179 rabies cases were reported across the county, with the highest number of cases being reported between the month of October 2022 and January 2023. The most recent cases were reported last Friday, that is on 7th April 2023.
He says that several residents are receiving treatment at Losinga County Referral Hospital and that one person has already succumbed to an illness which resulted from being bitten by a dog. Barchok has called upon Bomet residents to take precautions since the dogs are many in the area.
Among the priority hazards in the county includes anthrax and rabies. Farming Systems Kenya is also partnering with the county in controlling animal diseases. In the past rabies vaccination exercise, Farming Systems Kenya supported county with over 20,000 rabies vaccination certificates and are in the process of printing certificates for the upcoming exercise.
Hillary also noted foot and mouth disease, Rift Valley fever, rabies, skin disease, and East Coast fever as some of the notifiable diseases that are being experienced in Bomet County. Joy Minor, KUTV, Nairobi.
In the Rift Valley region, President William Ruto yesterday attended a church service at African Inland Church. That was on Sunday in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, and this was to celebrate Easter. The president acknowledged the ongoing debate on the high cost of living and food prices in the country, stating that his government is doing all it can to change the situation. Ruto says that beginning this week, food prices will come down. However, this will only be a temporary relief.
President William Ruto and First Lady Rachel Ruto have today joined Uasin Gishu residents to attend an Easter Sunday service at Africa Inland Church. The president has called upon farmers to grow enough food for the country in order to spare the nation the expenditure of importing food from abroad.
So as a farmer also, I came down here to look at what I can do to make a contribution to food production in our country so that we can reduce the cost of living. And this year I have purposed that I want to do twice in terms of productivity in my farm.
The president has also commended Kenyans for maintaining peace during the electioneering period. He said that the 2022 general elections were the most properly conducted elections in the history of Kenyan polls.
These were the most credible elections ever held in Kenya. And we want to thank God for that season. Let me also thank you for praying for the government of Kenya and all the people who work with me and all the counties and everybody else.
President Ruto has also urged parents to protect their children from drug and substance abuse, which he says has become a national crisis. The president urged parents to combine efforts with the government in a bid to seek a long-lasting solution to this problem.
There is a very, very big crisis. We're trying to do what we can do. I recently appointed a new board for NACADA. I'm working with all the other arms of government. But even as we do that at the government level, we must have a combined effort from the families so that we can meet somewhere halfway and make sure that we secure, protect our children.
First Lady Rachel Ruto has called upon Kenyans to pray for their families and also for the government.
A strong family gives us a strong church. A strong family gives us a strong country, and we shall never tire in praying for families. Let's continue praying for this great nation that God has given us. Let's continue praying for the leadership that God has given us.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta also attended an Easter Sunday service in St. Francis of Assisi Church in Nyali constituency, Mombasa County, as Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua commemorated the day in PCS Center Church in Ngorano, Mathira constituency, Nyeri County. Joseph Kess, KUTV.
All right, I'll take a pause there for the news updates coming to you from us at KUTV, Kenya's Rise Today. But I'll continue with them as we go on with Biashara Tuesday. Right about now, I want us to switch gears a bit and have a discussion with two teachers that we have invited this morning on the show to get a look at some of the activities they're doing to help provide quality education regardless of socio-economic backgrounds of students across the Republic. In this under-resourced schools. They have projects, and they are professionals themselves from diverse backgrounds who are now teaching and providing leadership skills within these schools in the Republic. How are they doing that? Some of those projects including environmental education, conservation and waste management, and urban gardening. How can you do it yourself, and also how can we pass these skills to the next generation? That's the conversation I'm having with the guests we have on the show. But you can send us your questions on the social media platforms at KUTV Kenya. Tag us, and if you know them, do tag them too and send a shout out. We'll be having a look at that when we are back, so don't go too far. Okay, we have a balanced set this morning. I will dare call it a balanced diet because the dietitian is also here, and with him is also a teacher, and they're going to inform us of the various projects they're undertaking with Teach for Kenya. They're also doing their fellowships, and they'll be informing us how that's going, how you can join Teach for Kenya from the diverse background that you might be from. But here with me is Bedel Kasi Ogweno. He is a Teach for Kenya fellow, and also accompanying him right on the set is Lydia Owire, also a Teach for Kenya fellow and a teacher at Imara Primary. Welcome to the show, guys. I'm glad to have you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Baridi ni mingi sana huko nje. I don't know if that has affected your journey to the station today.
Yeah, in effect, because then, in Nairobi also when it rains, fare pia inacheza up and down. So in one way or the other, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit also slippery out there, so if you're trying to get to work, please do take care and dress up warmly, unlike what I'm seeing Bedel dressed up as. Sijui kama baridi haikusumbui.
No, I was told to remove my heavy jacket. I came in as a bouncer.
All right. But now we want to speak to you as a dietitian.
Exactly.
All right. Welcome to the show. Maybe let me start with the lady, Lydia. An introduction to you, to our viewers this morning. You're a teacher by profession. I don't know if you're a teacher by training as well. You can tell us about that, and also your time generally at Imara before we get into the main conversation.
Okay, so my name is Lydia Owire, a professionally trained teacher, currently working at Teach for Kenya, where I'm serving in a community in Kayole in a school known as Imara Primary School. So I believe my 1-year journey has been a very interesting journey. And so I believe as a trained teacher, my passion has grown deeper. And this is evident by the kind of feeling and bonding I have with my learners. And it also shows in the kind of dedication I have for my work. I also believe working in such a community, in a social economic background, you have to know yourself well in order to understand your learners. And so that has helped me so much, so that if a learner is behaving in a certain manner, you are able to tell why they're behaving so,
right, rather
than judging them.
That's great.
Yeah.
And we're going to also have a look generally at what Teach for Kenya does and how you guys got to join and become fellows under it. But yes, dietitian.
Yeah.
Are you also a teacher as well?
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. My name is Bedel Kasi Ogweno. I am a Teach for Kenya fellow, so that automatically makes me a teacher. I teach at Destiny Junior in Madare, Bondeni. So, but I'm also a trained dietitian, a professionally trained and qualified dietitian. Yeah, so I'm juggling with both.
Right.
Time, yes.
Yes, we'll get to see how you do handle both of them. And the conversation we're having with you is urban gardening, and how people can try and integrate that with the various challenges that are there in the urban setup. But coming back to you, Lydia, integration of environmental education, conservation and waste management. That is your project with Teach for Kenya at Imara Primary. Why this specific one?
Okay, the main aim of starting the project was to generally to help learners to become environmentally conscious to enable them to participate in the environmental activities in order for them to acquire the knowledge, the skills, and the attitude towards environmental problems. We also create awareness. When I say we are 2 fellows posted in Mara Primary School, so we are both working on the project. So we also create awareness and train them on the environment and how they can solve some of these problems. So how do we create awareness? We usually have environmental clubs where we usually hold them once a week, and maybe once a month. We also usually have debates on environmental issues. We usually also through promotional activities like sports and athletes. That is one way in which we can also create awareness. We also train our learners on the importance of prudent and rational utilization of resources that are available within the school compound, i.e. the electricity and even water. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
The importance of utilization of the resources that are there within the school community. We just read a story here of high school students who've burnt down dormitories over in Kakamega, and some of them have been arrested. I think that portrays a picture of people who are not utilizing the resources within their school community. And I believe this is also one of those ways to try and create awareness that these students should take care of the environment. How did you get to join Teach for Kenya?
Okay, I'm an alumni of KU, by the way.
Right.
So I had a friend from KU. I happened to see the post on his Instagram. Then I applied through their website where I was called for an interview. Then later on I was called and told that I've joined. Yes.
Right.
So I got a chance with them. Yeah.
Right, and now you are having a 2-year fellowship.
Yes.
We'll be getting to see how the under-resourced schools, of course, over some of the places like Kayole are doing, and how you get to navigate the various challenges. But let's get to hear now from the dietitian. How do you now shift from being a dietitian to also having a look at issues of urban gardening?
Exactly. So I think what is informing my choices is my current reality in the slum area.
All right.
So I am a teacher. So that means I must really check on my learners in the morning when they arrive. And I'm so sorry to report, some of the feedback I get are not heartwarming at all. Yeah, so based on that reality of food security, to be particular, whereby a learner will tell you that they did not have supper or maybe breakfast. So that is really has made me to think of what can I really do to help this child so that the narrative changes.
Okay.
So it is just my small thing I'm doing towards maybe ensuring that the slum people in the slum setup also have a shot at food security,
right,
like most of the uptown people in this town are enjoying.
Right.
Yeah. So that is why I'm really trying to do urban gardening, because it is now just you having your small kitchen garden, yeah, behind your house, on your roof of the balcony,
right,
or maybe in the roof of the slums.
Okay.
Because like my roof ends here, the other one starts here, so you just take advantage of any place that you can afford.
Right. Yeah. And currently the country, across more than 24 counties, there's an issue of food crisis, and food security has been food insecurity, as a matter of fact, has been a conversation we've had in the country for the longest time. Do you believe maybe that urban gardening can be one way in which you can tackle this challenge?
Okay, thank you very much. So I think what we really need to be aware of is our country has very many policies on food security. But then the time has now come that we should shift from policy to action. So like if we can all be proactive, in the sense you do your small thing that can ensure that we all see and get to feel the food security in this country. Just like our president is saying, he's a farmer. So maybe if all of us try to practice that little farming, maybe we can have a shot at food security.
All right.
Yeah, because already the policies are there in plenty. What is lacking is just the action.
Okay. I'm going to get back to you, but when I do, we also have to look at the challenges that face people in the urban setup. We normally call them Kikuyu landlords. When we see a building, set up in a certain way, just to maximize a very small space and create as many single rooms and bed sitters as possible. Maybe also, is it possible for someone to do that there? Yeah. You can think about that in the meantime. But getting back to you, Lydia, there are challenges in disseminating education within the slum areas. Going to Imara Primary, under-resourced, understaffed as well. How do you get to provide learning to this many young learners who do not have many teachers to do so?
Okay, first of all, In my 1 year experience, I had a lot of challenges. Okay, I have a very high population in my class. So you find that most of the learners are non-readers.
Right.
So as a teacher, you have to create extra time in order to help these learners. One more thing, we've created just a culture of reading, where we read storybooks maybe twice a week. We come up with storybooks where we read in order for them to improve their communication skills.
Okay.
Yeah. So I believe in such a way these are I'm trying to impact them positively.
Right.
Yeah.
And now conservation and waste management. How do you, in what ways are there projects you get to involve these students so that they get a practical aspect to environmental education?
Okay. So the first thing, in the community I'm serving from, it is a low social economic background where most of the learners, they see litters being thrown everywhere, right? So we wanted to do away with the norm because we realized that the trend had been carried back to school, and you could see litters being thrown everywhere within the school compound. Right. So the first thing we did was to educate them, to let them be aware, know that it is our responsibility to take care of our environment.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Then later on, we started some of the activities like engaging in cleanup activities. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So there's that first step of awareness, you know, to do away with the norm, and then getting them on the ground to apply these practical skills. So maybe for schools that do not have access to teach for Kenya Fellows and maybe haven't gotten to integrate environmental education and climate action conversation within the schools, do you think it's important that they do this, and how can you urge them that this is going to help their learners as well, besides what they're teaching in the regular curriculum?
I think that is very important because one, these our learners are the future leaders.
Right.
So we should help them in making decisions that will shape the health of the environment in the future, in the nearby future, right? So I believe environmental conservation and waste management is a very important topic, especially having been introduced on environmental studies. Yes, there's a subject, yes, known as environmental studies in grade in lower primary. So I believe with that, we thank the government for having introduced such a subject, and I think that will also lay the foundation. Yeah.
All right.
So I urge others who may not have Teach for Kenya Fellows to also practice the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just maybe on a personal level though, you teach this environmental education, conservation and waste management. What are the subjects that you teach, the other regular class subjects?
Subjects.
Yeah.
We have art and craft. We have physical education.
Right.
We have English. We have maths.
No, I was asking the ones that you teach yourself.
Okay, me myself.
Yes.
Okay, I teach English.
All right.
I teach science and technology. I also teach art and craft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a diverse list of subjects that you have a look at there, and we'll get to that in a moment. But let's have that conversation on urban planning. Yeah. I'm there in my small single room space. Neighbor wangu, his kitchen faces my toilet. You know, there's no place to do urban planning. Is it possible? Low lighting conditions, soil, hata sijui mahali nitatoa the proper soil to use. How do I address some of those challenges?
Okay, thank you very much for the concern. Yeah, so we are very cognizant of those challenges. Yeah, because then the urban space is never for the public to utilize. That is what we have, and it's a discussion going on of the right to access to the city. Like, how can we use the public spaces? You know, the problem is, even in those areas we're talking about, we usually have these spaces which are left as playgrounds, but then they never exist because some few people have decided to use them in their own way. So I really think we can also do, you know, when we talk about urban agriculture, it is a very diverse discipline. But we have something called community gardens, whereby we can come together as neighbors and then maybe use part of the playing field that is outside our doorstep to raise our small garden.
Okay.
Also, we can have something called the hanging gardens, whereby you just hang your gardens outside for those people who can access the natural light.
Right.
But then, technology will also inform you that you can have very many creative ways of raising these gardens. Yeah. Because some of them, you can even just use water. Like there's this whole discipline called hydroponics. It's a wide discipline. Maybe it can be a discussion for another day.
Right.
Yeah, but then there are alternative ways of raising these gardens. Because the reality is, as the wild population increases, we are not going to have the arable lands that we used to have in the past.
Right.
So either way, we must really think of very creative ways of raising these gardens.
Okay.
And it is good my sister here has raised the issue of environmental conservation and recycling of plastics and stuff. Because even these gardens we are currently working on, we are doing them with recycled tins, we are doing them with recycled tires, so that we prevent these plastics and tires from getting burnt.
All right.
And so we know the effect, if that happens, it's going to destroy the ozone layer, and then climate change sets in, and then that is what that is where we are at.
Right.
At as of today, right?
Right. Yeah, we're seeing leaders all over the world having summits and meetings to discuss which way that we should go in matters of climate crisis. So maybe starting from that small scale, right there at my backyard, at my bed sitter pale kando ni, I hung something. While we are still on that, what are the best vegetables or herbs that you recommend for people in the urban setup to put there in the urban gardens?
Okay, so there are the small things that people take for granted. For example, why must you buy an onion, yet you can raise your own onions at your backyard?
Okay.
Yeah? Or maybe your tomatoes, for example. But then, kales also do well, carrots as well, you can do that. Yeah. But for those people who can access communal land, like for example in the setups of the slums, where they can get a wider space, you can also think of doing sunflower. Yeah, because it's a very good plant that first of all, it helps to detoxify the soil. That is a scientific benefit that you can have with sunflower growing in your garden. And so if that happens, really, like the cases we are seeing in Madare, there's a project called Bondeni Shamba Project.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're doing very well. Actually, it's farmed near Madare River, which is very polluted. But then if you go to that place, at least they're doing something to change
to also help the river as
exactly,
well.
Exactly.
Taking a look at urban gardening, but also in the process, you're also doing environmental conservation and waste management, which is something that Lydia is having a look at. Lydia, the journey you said so far, has been fruitful as a professionally trained teacher. Your passion has grown because of Teach for Kenya, and was seeing here that self-awareness and self-reflection are also important in your current profession, and also trying to disseminate this information to students. Maybe tell us, how does self-awareness and self-reflection come in?
Okay, I believe self-awareness and self-reflection comes in such a way that me as a person, if I know myself well, I know my limits, I understand well, I understand myself well, and if I understand myself well, then I'll be able to understand the learners as well, such that if a learner has done a mistake, there's a way I'll be able to handle that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's such that once you're aware of yourself, you're also aware of the
learner
people
you're handling. Yeah.
All right. So for the guys who want to join Teach for Kenya, what is the process like, and how do they go about it?
Okay, so Teach for Kenya, basically they employ undergraduates, the ones who are through with their undergraduates.
Okay.
So you get to apply. They basically apply the aim of Teach for Kenya is basically to provide quality education across the country, regardless of to provide education for all, regardless of their socioeconomic background. So how do they do this? They do this by rather employing diverse professionals across the country, where they give them leadership skills. Yes, then later on they're placed in the schools where they're supposed to serve.
So saying me as a media personality can also get to join Teach for Kenya,
of course,
and become a fellow.
Yes.
And then get to teach something in the schools.
Yes.
Does it have to be within environmental conservation, or I can also get to teach them about journalism?
Okay, so once you are placed in those communities you are supposed to serve, you're supposed to identify a gap. There are so many gaps with these schools.
Okay.
So for me, the first one we identified was on environment, but we have other issues that these learners are facing. So you as a fellow, you're the one to identify which one you can work on.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Come back to you, Bedel, as we wrap up this conversation. It's quite interesting to look at the ways that you guys are integrating school's lesson of this practical nature within the curriculum. When you say building resilience through urban gardening, how can urban gardening help us build resilience, and in what way?
Exactly. So I really think that the issue here is about empowerment and engagement, because it's really a very big challenge that we face in the slum setup.
Okay.
Yeah, because due to poverty, someone cannot afford a meal on their table, and you just now know where the current state of economy is. So if these people are empowered so that they can be self-reliant, that they are self-sufficient, they can raise their own food, they can be able to solve some of these small challenges that they are currently grappling with. So I really think the part of resilience, one, has to do with that, food security. Then also, if you read the title of my project, it is building resilience through urban gardening and climate education. So also, as the inhabitants of this globe, we also need to build resilience, because now climate change is real, it's at our doorstep. And remember, the late Wangari Maathai once told us that it is those small things that we do that makes the difference.
All right.
So really, if we can have this discussion on climate education at the school level, at the individual level, at the community level,
Right.
all of us are going to contribute towards solving this challenge of
Right.
climate change.
Okay.
Yes. So
a concerted effort all across the board.
All across. You do your part, I do mine, and then we can maybe try to revert the current situation.
All right. Those are very good words to end this conversation with. And just to wrap it up, a final call to action for guys who might want to join Teach for Kenya, and maybe if there are offices, contacts, somewhere they can get a look at, website and all of that, and maybe there's a period of application, please do inform us about that. And also maybe your last word for you, how the schools can get to integrate some of this environmental education and climate action conversations within their curriculum, and a call to action for urban gardening. Watu wako pale balcony, hiyo space, badala ya kuweka mitungi sana, naweza waambia wafanye kitu na hiyo space yote. Let's start with how they can get to Teach for Kenya.
Okay, first of all, I think when you want to, if you want to join Teach for Kenya, we are on all social media platforms. We are in Facebook, we are in Twitter, on Instagram, and also on TikTok. So I guess the application will be open come May. So any person who is willing to join or who wants to join Teach for Kenya can apply. Yeah.
Message to them to include environmental education.
Okay, my last message is I want to appreciate first the government for having introduced CBC and also for having introduced environmental studies at a very early childhood, as these will lay the foundation of these young leaders that will help in making decisions that will shape the health of the environment in the coming, in the near future.
All right.
So I'll urge everyone to adapt some of these things on how we can change our environment.
All right.
Let them adapt to education, let them educate, create awareness, and spread the news so that we can have a better future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, from you, gentlemen.
Okay, so my call is to all leaders who are out there who really want to make an impact in the societies they live and serve in. So Teach for Kenya gives you this opportunity. Someone might ask, why Teach for Kenya? It's giving you an alternative of using your 2 years to make a change in the society that you serve in, or the society that you know somewhere that you can really, really impact on. So I would really welcome all of them to come on board and work with us to maybe change the trajectories that we have there. So my also another concern is you out there who is having that wide space behind your house, kindly think of how that space can turn into a food security basket for you and your family. Remember, even the United Nations is urging us to create sustainable agriculture. That only starts with your action as an individual. Thank you.
All right. That is Bedel Kasi Ogweno, Teach for Kenya Fellow, and Lydia Uwire, also a Teach for Kenya Fellow and a teacher at Imara Primary. Thank you guys for making time for us this morning, and I wish you all the best with your projects. I'm hoping to see this implemented across many places that I go to and also many schools as well. Okay, Biashara Tuesday is taking a break to look at the comments, feedback that you guys have been sending through at KUTV Kenya. This SMS/WhatsApp numbers, I'll also be looking at your feedback there as well. And then we're back to more conversations are happening here, so don't touch that dial.
you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
What's up, fashionistas? Looking for a show that brings you the latest in the world of fashion, glamour, creativity, and style? Fashion Diaries got you sorted as we explore street fashion, modeling, runways, red carpet events, and so much more.
Catch me, Ashley and Sakshi, as we unlock the greatest fashion events. Keep it locked.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
The quickest way to raise autism awareness and end stigma is to show the world the amazing gifts, achievements, and talents of those on the spectrum and what they can do to add value to society when given the support they need in form of services, education, and acceptance. Mr. and Miss Autism Kenya 2023 aims at raising awareness of autism by providing a platform for those on the spectrum to showcase their talents and amuse the world. This year's events will take place at Sportsview Hotel Kasarani on Saturday the 15th of April 2023, and the entry is free. You can support us by becoming a partner. Call us on 0702 623359. Mr. and Miss Autism Kenya is proudly brought to you by Step Up for Autism and KUTV, powered by Ready Aiders Foundation.
Karibuni sana to the Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Tero.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. sure manzo umetune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Arts
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
All right, a fresh start this morning on Biashara Tuesday. We are discussing various issues. We just got off air with two teachers by profession, also by choice, through the Teach for Kenya non-government organization, which is their place of fellowship, and they're doing various projects in schools around the Republic. One of them, the integration of environmental education, conservation, and waste management. This is a project currently happening at Imara Primary, and also urban gardening, which is another project that we had there from Bedell, who is a fellow also at Teach for Kenya. If you want to join them, you can apply in May of 2023 when the applications are open, and this is open to all professionals from diverse backgrounds. So if you're a journalist, if you're a teacher, if you're a doctor, you can get to apply as well. And speaking of doctors, I have here with me a medical officer intern, Austin Omondi. He's having a conversation with me on how to integrate technology and how modern technology is impacting delivery of healthcare, including social media, which has become a platform of disseminating information, but also you can get to find medical and relevant health information there on the social platforms that you are using at the moment. So that conversation is coming to you in a short while. I'll be looking also at your feedback so far. Interacting with us on Twitter is Maite Jones. I also see here Ashley Mwangangi from yesterday. The guys who are looking forward to this conversation that we're about to have here. I am Mitambo, anasema also being ready there. Meshak as well, interacting with us on the social media platforms. Remember, it's at KUTV Kenya that you get to look at. Waswan Dinan, looking forward to this conversation, and this is of course also from the posts that we did yesterday following up to this morning. So under the hashtag Biashara Tuesday is where I can easily get to look at your notifications from the messages that you're sending and take advantage of the SMS and WhatsApp numbers. If you know Dr. Austin Omondi, you can tag him there on Twitter as well, Japrado. Utapata hapo username yake, alafu any questions that you have for him, he'll handle them when we're right back. Don't go too far. Okay, welcome back again. Biashara Tuesday is on air. Do I say doctor? Do I call you doctor? Austin Omondi, or did I just say Austin Omondi right up? Dr. Austin Omondi.
I think I deserve it.
After years and years of toiling,
yeah.
You do deserve it. Do you have an issue, by the way, with people who don't refer you to as doctor?
No, I believe I am a humble man, and I would still like to be called Austin Omondi.
Right.
It's still my name, so I love it.
Right.
If you like to add doctor, that's okay.
Even better.
Even better.
All right. Maybe in the future, HSC and all of those other additions to people's names. But welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much for having me, Richard, and thank you so much for the guys watching us at home. Thank you so much.
All right. An introduction to yourself, saying Dr. Austin Omondi for the people who might not know you. Let's get to know about you and where you get to practice medicine at the moment.
Thank you so much, Richard, for having me once again. My name is Dr. Austin Omondi. I'm an alumni of Egerton University, and formerly from Alliance High School, I must say. So yeah, I'm currently a medical officer intern stationed at Kiambu Level 5 Hospital. Yet to be posted, but we love it. Thank you so much, Richard.
But we love it. We'll get to that in a moment. You plus 4,000 others. But the conversation we are starting with this morning is modern technology. Yeah. When back then, a few years back, I was involved in this little project that you can look up online called Medbit, and we were trying to integrate technology within the healthcare in institutions and also delivery. Yeah. How can modern technology be used in efficient delivery of healthcare?
Thank you so much, Richard. So I remember a few years back there was a project of Medbit, which was an online platform where medics would get to interact with patients, basically. So if you wanted to meet a doctor online, you would just log into Medbit. For example, looking for an ophthalmologist, you'd look for an ophthalmologist, let's say in Nakuru or in Nairobi, and it will give you a few options for the same. So in that way, technology has really brought the doctor closer to the patient. You don't have to travel miles and miles for you to meet a doctor, basically. And that falls under the bracket of telemedicine. So in telemedicine, I think it has really opened up the world, basically. You can get to interact with a doctor even as far as the United States. You can do online medical consultations with the doctor, and that has really basically made the world a smaller place. So if you also look at technology right now, we have even wearable devices. So guys have smartwatches and Apple watches and whatnot. So you get to exercise, you get to keep fit, you know, you check your pulse rate, check your heart rate, check the number of steps, and also the calories that you're actually burning. So in that way, you get to, technology basically has made like healthcare closer to you. If you want to go a bit technical, you have the aspect of medical imaging. So a few years back, we only had things like X-rays, and you know how hectic it was. But now, currently, we have things like the ultrasounds and the CT scans of the world and the MRIs, and even those ones are paling right now compared to the PET scans. So right now, tests that would take like 3 days, 4 days, even a whole week right now are taking like a few hours.
Right.
Back in the day, people had to walk with sheets. I don't know whether you remember the X-ray sheets that you used to walk around with a film and whatnot.
Right, when you're going for a chest checkup, you have to carry this huge envelope.
Amazing. Nowadays, you don't have to do that. When you take an X-ray or a CT scan, they send it directly to your phone and your WhatsApp. From there onwards, it really reduces the paper load. You know, patients has forgotten an X-ray at home. So technology has really been a wonderful thing particularly for healthcare.
Right. That's such positive news, including some of those technology advances that you've mentioned there, from wearables. You know, I did see that the Apple Watch can now even call your emergency contacts if you have a heart attack, or if you suddenly have if you fall in your house. It gives you a bit of time to see if you had a heart attack, or maybe you're just sleeping, and then calls your emergency contacts.
Amazing.
Right? That's a really good ways, or innovative ways, in which technology is helping healthcare be delivered or localized to an individual level. But as we speak of the positives, there are definitely challenges. As I mentioned back then, even convincing the older generation of doctors to adopt some of these technologies. Anasema, hey, yo mambo ya social media, mambo ya vijana hiyo sitaki. What are some of these challenges in implementing new technologies that you've seen from your end?
Also, thank you so much. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is like the acceptability. As it's common, when something is new, people don't understand it. So there's normally a difficulty in the uptake. That is the first thing. But I think with time, with the westernization of the country and modernization of the world, people have been more willing to accept like newer technology. For example, telemedicine, you know, like talking to doctors online, even the AI part of medicine and talking to bots, people have been more welcoming of that. The next aspect of that has always been, as the usual problems, cost. Some of this technology is really expensive. For example, the positron emitting tomography, that is the PET scan. It's a really
how did you call it?
The positron emitting tomography.
Hey, all right. Scan. I last saw positrons in physics.
Yeah, so it uses the same concept.
Okay.
So it's really ultra modern, better than the CT scan, better than the MRI. But now the biggest challenge for this kind of technology has been always cost. It is very expensive. I think at the moment we only have 2 in the country. So you can imagine the kind of wait list that you actually have. You might have the money to pay for these scans, but you have to wait a really long time. So I think those have been the major problems, like the cost and the acceptability of the technology. But I think as time goes by and as the country is getting more money, more resources, I think the government will be able to invest the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to get to you also now on how we can make healthcare affordable in the Republic, because I think that's a really big challenge. But as we are still on technology, social media, you have a very huge following on social media. If you can access that at the very moment, I think the last time I checked it was about 16,000 followers here on Twitter. Couple of retweets every day. Once you speak something, people are excited to share it with their following as well. How do you package yourself on social media as a doctor? Let's begin from just that packaging.
Thank you so much. So my name on social media is Dr. Austin Omondi, famously Japrado. So social media I really started small. I started back when I was in school and had a few mentors like Dr. Rain and also someone called Ogera. So these have been medics who have always been at the forefront, like online medical education, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, especially mental health issues right now. They're a big conundrum in the country, so I was very passionate about that. So I decided, what is the best way for me to get, to impact very many people at the same time? So there's a common saying that says, even the best doctor can only treat one patient at a time, but through online and through advocacy, we can get to treat hundreds of patients or even the whole country at a go. So that was my initial mantra, and that has kept me going. So what has really helped me in social media basically is the way I package myself is I try to speak about what I'm sure of, what I know is true. I try to be kind on social media. Sometimes you get people who will try and insult you.
Who are aggressive.
Very aggressive. You see how you tackle them. And sometimes also just ignore sometimes the detractors and focus on the positive aspects of it.
Okay.
So that has always been
your way to package yourself. Let me just maybe, before you go on there, you've mentioned of aggressive people, or maybe people who might be having opinions that you're maybe get you angry sometimes. Do you rebuttal? Do you show that side of you, or do you keep that off the interwebs?
So usually another mantra that I have for social media use is I try to use social media as if my future boss is reading
your tweets.
My tweets, and also as if my current boss is going to use it to give me an upgrade at my place of work. So you try to really be respectful, and also realize that there are so many keyboard warriors nowadays. So and it will really hurt you. It will not hurt you by keeping quiet. So that has really helped me, particularly dealing with I would call them haters and the detractors.
do you chime in on tea? When it's Tea Sunday and there's a very hot conversation, or do you have to keep your brand image intact?
Only if the tea is medical related. If it's medical related, sometimes, there was a tweet the other day about someone talking about the mothers who undergo CSS to be less of mothers. So I felt like that one it's someone who had a huge following, over 100,000 people. So I felt like it was very important for me, as much as it is tea and the trending topic, I feel like it's positive for me to chime in. Or if it's something like suicide related, or things like poisoning, like you saw the other one, the DJ Brown skin issue.
Right.
I really had to chime in, and I got almost 500,000 engagements on that tweet.
Right.
So I talked about the safety measures that someone can take when someone takes poisons and that. So if it's tea and it's medical related and I can come in, I love it.
You will be on it.
I will be on it.
I'm looking at some of the tweets that you do here. Sometimes it's also not something entirely medical, or maybe what people would expect, directions on how to use drugs or something like that. For example, this one that's currently at 1,000 likes and 107,000 views here. Here's what to do if someone is electrocuted. This other information that you also pick here. How do you get to do your research and still continue with your path as a medic?
Amazing. So they normally say that once you become a medic, you've signed up yourself for perpetual reading. So I actually take time sometimes looking at the current issues. For example, people have been having issues with this, the electrical heaters particularly. People have had massive accidents from it. So you take time, you read about the what to do, for example, in this kind of scenarios. And then once you read it and integrate it, and then you put it in the simplest possible language that the layman can understand, because I don't want to put medical jargons there and do CPR. Someone might not know what CPR is, so just put it in a very simple language that someone can understand. And day-to-day usage. So many guys even DM me and call me on my number saying some of this information I've bookmarked it and they've really helped. For example, what really encouraged me the other time is someone told me I had put emergency services numbers, the ones for ambulances on Twitter. It got another 200,000 engagement and views. So someone told me like they posted it into their apartment WhatsApp group, and it was able to help a mother. So I was very delighted when I had that.
Okay.
So I'm really happy when I get positive feedback, actually, that what I'm doing is making a positive impact in people's lives. Yeah.
All right. Earlier on, you've mentioned of something that you had to give your statement about CSs, yeah? Mothers who undergo CSs. Let's talk about misinformation there a bit. How does someone now, when I get online and see Dr. Austin Omondi, maybe next week I come and find Dr. Okeze. How then do I get to trust that, Dr. Okeze is actually not someone I should listen to? I really need to listen to Dr. Austin because he has the correct and verifiable information.
That's a very important question. As with social media, your safety is equally in your own hands. You actually have to take time and investigate and look at who exactly are you following. Sometimes you might be following a quack. So the beauty of it is that the KMPDC has an online portal where you can just search the name of the doctor and can able to give you like verifiable results. For example, if you search Dr. Okeze and is not there, you can be sure that Dr. Okeze is not trusted medical doctor.
Right.
Yeah, and then also based on where a doctor works, I think it's a very small country. If you ask around, you'll be able to find out. Yeah.
Right. So you can know, Dr. Austin Omondi, where did he go to school? It's easy to source that kind of information, right?
Yes.
Now, how do we make healthcare affordable in the Republic, Dr. Austin?
So that is, you've gone into the geopolitical side of it, and I love it. I'm aspiring health, yes, one day. Yeah, I love it. So I think the current government is doing so much on UHC and basically making health and afia affordable to basically all Kenyans. So at the moment I think the government does subsidize a lot. Particularly, we used to have initially the Linda Mama program where mothers will be able to deliver for free, and I think it's very useful. Things like TB medications, they're normally very expensive, to the tune almost of 1 million shillings, but we get them for free.
In Kenya, yeah.
In Kenya, yes. Things like ARVs also given for free. So I think the government is really pushing that. And then also with the NHIF. So for the viewers at home, I'd really like to encourage everybody else, particularly right now with the lifestyle diseases and with an aging population, please just get the dialysis cover. It really saves a lot of lives. So because right now kidney diseases are on the rise, cardiovascular diseases are on the rise, hypertension is on the rise. So the NHIF cover does really help currently in the world. So as we push towards UHC, I can see also the health CS. I normally follow her tweets very closely, Honorable Nakumicha. So if you're listening at home, I think I'd like to commend you for that. So she really does help us a lot in terms of donor funding, and also just making our issues known to the World Health Organization at large. So she's really doing a good job.
Okay.
Kudos to her.
All right. That is kudos to the health CS. But then I'm going to introduce a very tiny caveat there. The current state of affairs of healthcare in the country. I've seen you also being very vocal about it in regards to unposted 4,000 unemployed doctors. What is happening there, and what is the challenge the government is facing in? I thought this is just a letter and report to work the next day.
No, initially it used to be like that, but changing times and tough economic times have also plagued us currently in the country. So right now we have unposted interns, we have unpaid interns who joined in January 16th, and we also have right now we have around 4,000 unemployed doctors. So it's currently a very big problem. But recently, I think 2 months ago, the president spoke about it. He spoke about the spoke and will kind of method where he was going to employ like all the 4,000 doctors, clinical officers, and nurses, and community healthcare workers. So I think I'm a firm believer of our president. I think he's a very smart man, and I believe I took time and read about the model, and I think he promised us within 6 months to 1 year that there will be positive steps in that direction. So I'm really waiting for it like very patiently, and also putting a lot of trust in that. Then recently our health CS spoke about the posting of clinical officers and nurses. So I also thought it was a very positive thing.
Right. But this conversation has gotten to the highest of
to the
ranks.
highest echelons. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That is good to see. And I did also see reports that the president said the NHIF cover will be reduced, the monthly remittances from 500 to 300, and that is by the end of 2023, hopefully also covering cancer treatment. So as Doc has said, please, if you can get NHIF, do get it. It really is helpful. Maybe as we wrap up, I think we'll wrap up from you as an online medic, you know, currently that's the status that you are holding on the interwebs, a message to your followers. But before we switch to that, you also do something else. When I scroll through your timeline, I meet images of, very nice looking interiors that I wish for my house, but I don't know if I can afford that at the moment. Tell us a little bit about this. You're also an interior designer?
I'm very passionate about that. So we were able to do something with my friend called Caleb. He's actually the founder of the company. It's called Mbunifu Interior. So check it out on Instagram, check it out on Twitter. And I believe you're going to also be on TikTok very soon. So Mbunifu Interiors is something I do on the side. I'm also very, very passionate about it because, interior also and design has an effect on mood and also on health. Because when you walk into a hospital that has red colors, very scary things.
Shouting colors, you're feeling very unsettled.
It really affects your mood. So also with a good interior and whatnot, it also affects the way people respond to the spaces and whatnot.
Right.
Also very therapeutic. So we've done a couple of designs. We design clinics, we design houses, we do coffee houses, we do hotels, restaurants, and also bars. So if you do have time, you can also check us out.
Yeah, the images are there, very beautiful ones on the screen already being displayed.
Amazing.
Yeah, so check out Mbunifu.
Mbunifu Interiors.
All right.
Yes.
Mbunifu Interiors. Sasa nishajua what's the problem with my anger issues. My house isn't set for the mood.
I think that's the major problem. So give me a call, Richard. I'd love to work on your house.
Okay, sure thing. Please do talk to Japrado, and he will direct you to the necessary resources to boost up your interiors, whether hospital, coffee shops, or even your house. Finally, Dr. Austin Omondi, speak to your current thousands of followers and also future followers as well, and also on the importance of maybe the journey that online medicine has been taking so far. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So thank you once again, Richard and KUTV, for this amazing opportunity. It's also a very humbling experience for everyone who's trying to build an online presence. Just start slow, start small, be very consistent. I think that one has really helped me, a tweet a day, 2 tweets a day, and also talk about whatever is happening in the country. Look for a niche, basically, for what is happening. For example, talk about cancer, talk about hypertension. There are so many developing problems. And also thank you for my followers, because 16,000 is a huge number. I would not have dreamed of having such a following online. So I do also have a segment on Saturdays called a Q&A session, which I normally put out. We talk about diseases basically and the management, and I have a team of a couple of doctors which I'd love to give a shout out to. We have someone like Dr. Dama, Dr. Ogera, Dr. Salim, someone like Dr. Andrew Githiria and Dr. Emmanuel Sunda and Emmanuel Chiro. They really help a lot in terms of, we just ask questions. For example, I say, let's ask anything about hypertension today. So we have people asking questions, and we just give our medical advice for free, pro bono, and we're lucky. So at the moment, we've had been able to reach 1 million people throughout the country and answered over 2,000 questions. So that's not a small thing.
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm actually very humbled. So I'm also encouraging other doctors out there, let's push online and let's make medicine great again.
Right.
Yeah.
That is, let's make medicine great again. All right, I was trying to look for the abbreviation there, but I couldn't get it. Whether it's MAMA or MAGA, but thank you very much, Dr. Austin.
Thank you so much, Richard, for having me.
All right.
Amazing.
Biashara Tuesday takes a break. I'll be reading your feedback here already. People commenting. I see Dr. Ray Lubega saying, good work, Doc. We are following. And we're coming back also to see more of that feedback on Facebook, Twitter, and also where we are streaming live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya Live. Don't go too far. I'm just going to take a cup of water, and then I'll be back.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Bari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Hello everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box. Just new comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked, make sure we keep fit, and that's it from me to you.
Kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale wana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila uoga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Eagle Group, we deal with hardware and software development. In hardware, we do PCB design, that is based on IoT. So as an engineer, I have trained a couple of people. So this board is compatible with Arduino IDE. You can, it has the Arduino STM Arduino course. This is a Blue Eagle. The difference with the other one is that this one has BLE, which is included in the ESP32.
An innocent one died in the place of the one who was guilty.
Every single one of these prophecies and more was about to be fulfilled by Jesus Christ.
To the Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Teros.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali.
ama mabondeni, utukuke.
So make sure manzo tune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Arts
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
Siko pale pale, ningependa kuwa. Pia siko pale pale, pale nilianzia.
What's up, fashionistas? Looking for a show that brings you the latest in the world of fashion, glamour, creativity, and style? Fashion Diaries got you sorted as we explore street fashion, modeling, runways, red carpet events, and so much more.
Catch me, Ashley Asachi, as we unlock the greatest fashion events. Keep it locked.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
All right, thank you for keeping it here still at KUTV Kenya. This is KUTV Rise. Today's Biashara Tuesday. Interact with us, continue interacting with us on social media on the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Another doctor who's tuned into the show, Dr. Arwa Frederico, anasema wewe ndio inside man wetu, talk to Omondi to open us to more opportunities. So that's a reaction to what we had there as a discussion with Dr. Austin Omondi, who you can find on Twitter as famously known as Japrado, where he's disseminating medical information to you on his Twitter timeline, and this is verifiable information. You can check his credentials as well, as he said there, through the relevant government bodies. But that conversation on modern technology and the impact that it's had on healthcare delivery also includes social media, of course, as part of those modern technologies. How can we make healthcare affordable in the Republic? Step number one is for you to get yourself NHIF cover, according to Dr. Austin Omondi. It's going to be really a great help to you when you are undergoing some of those major challenges and costs that you might face in hospital. Right about now, I am going to shift gears a bit. That was a conversation with a youth who is trying to promote empowerment through the medical fraternity, the youth there. Sadly, I think we didn't speak about gender equality, but we are going to get into that conversation. How can the youth be involved in youth empowerment and gender equality? Vijana African Voices Initiative, VAVI, is here with me. The founder is also here to tell us about the journey so far, and also one of the members there. I'll be introducing them once I come back from this break, so don't go far. Viva Vavi. Yeah, if it was one Miguna, it will say Viva, but today it's Vavi. So maybe Vavi Viva, but this is Vijana African Voices Initiative. It is a youth-led community-based organization, and it's now becoming a symbol of hope that advocates for the voice of the youth and promotes gender equality. That's the conversation we're having here, and how you can get to participate also in promoting youth empowerment. Remember earlier on we also had a conversation with another youth-led organization, which is also having a look at some of the ways to impart leadership skills and also promote environmental awareness within schools. Now another youth-led organization here with me, the founder who's with me on set, Evans Masharia, is going to also be accompanied here by Susan Mukuhi, who is a youth advocate as well over at Vijana African Voices. Guys, welcome to the show. I'm going to start with the lady. Please introduce yourself rightfully, and also your role over at Vijana African Voices Initiative.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Susan Mukuhe from Vijana Voices Initiative. I am the secretary there. I am a youth advocate, HIV prevention ambassador, among other roles in the society.
Okay.
Thank you
All
for
right.
having us.
All right, you're welcome. Founder, Bwana Evans. I'm shocked you're not calling yourself CEO. I am used to founder and CEO.
Well, it depends on how you want people to relate to you. You know,
Okay.
CEO is more of corporate-ish
Okay.
kind of thing.
Right.
But a founder, I feel it's more of owning what you're doing.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right.
So-
Introduce yourself then as a founder, and
All
let's
right.
leave the CEO. And then when you began Vavi.
The Vavi.
Right.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Mhm.
So we thank you. And first and foremost, my name is Evans Masharia, founder of Vijana African Voices. As you said, Vavi, it's an acronym of our initiative.
Mhm.
And we started in the year 2021 December,
Right.
but formally on April 2022.
Mhm.
So we run in Kiambu sub-county as a CBO. You're supposed to work in a particular sub-county.
Mhm.
So we focus mostly in Kiambu sub-county.
Mhm.
And the way we started Vijana African Voices was quite interesting, because you find that having worked with different organizations that are tailored to support the adolescent girls and young women in our community.
Mhm.
So everywhere you go to the community, you find that they ask the question, what about the boy child?
Mhm.
And you find that because I'm a boy, they
Of course.
question you even,
You know,
they challenge you.
your fellow boy child.
Yes, yes. What are you doing about the boy child in our community?
Mhm.
So I think it brought the conversation of what are we going to do as youths in our community to ensure that the boy child is not left behind.
Okay.
So that's led to the birth of Vijana African Voices Initiative.
All right. Coming back to you, Susan. What is it that you guys advocate for, and how do you do it?
Okay. So Vijana African Voices,
Mhm.
as he has said, it was born from the need to bridge a gap that we identified of we're empowering girls, but they're coming back to the same boys who are not empowered.
Mhm.
And you see, when there's imbalance, there is conflict. When
Right.
there's imbalance, there is agenda that will feel they need to fight back.
Mhm.
So what we do, it is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 5.
Mhm.
The first one is good health and wellness.
Mhm.
The second one is gender equality.
Mhm.
So we plan to approach this differently. That's what we've been doing,
Mhm.
because we bring both gender on board. We
Mhm.
have a conversation where if we mentor girls, how about boys? So
Okay.
we bring both boys and girls and have a conversation on how they should embrace their gender and
Mhm.
also not see the other gender as a threat.
Mhm.
So we do community development projects.
Mhm.
We are involved in various community projects. For
All right.
example, we are able to have a forum for competence.
Mhm.
We bring youths together, both male and female,
Mhm.
and talk about competence, because we believe that if each one of us achieves their dreams,
Mhm.
utilizes their potential,
Right.
we're not going to have this issue of I'm a man, I'm a woman.
Mhm.
So we want personal development, personal growth, and so we had a forum called incompetence forum that we brought youths together.
Okay.
We've also had mentorship. We do mentorship to both boys and girls. And one of our major projects was Boys to Men program, where we mentored boys who were initiated into the African system. So when the class 8 boys were initiated to manhood, we had a mentorship program, because things don't go wrong, they start wrong. So we start with pre-teen before we get to the youth. An empowered and a youth who is a teen who is aware of themselves, they'll make an empowered youth. So we do mentorship and so much more.
Okay, and so much more. Bwana Founder, so much more. What other areas of impact can you mention apart from the ones that Susan just highlighted there for us?
I think the major fact currently that is affecting our youth, it's matters of mental health. You find that it is a major factor, because this mental health is something that you cannot see or able to know by the look of somebody, whatever he or she is going through. So I think that is key when we are promoting our awareness and promoting the well-being of the youth. So we try breaking the barriers in matters of mental health, HIV prevention. We promote ways of HIV prevention, and then also the triple threat infection, where we try and ensure that our youth then don't get new HIV infection, the sexual gender-based violence, and also unwanted teenage pregnancy.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Is also setting up of business a part of the empowerment programs that you do?
Part of empowerment is mostly skills.
Okay.
What skills do we
need to impart?
Yes. Because you can't offer somebody a business when you have not taught him how to save, how to form a business plan. So part of it, we have forums where we train on entrepreneurial skills and financial capability, part of the skills, to ensure that they have the skills and the capability to run even that business they want to start.
All right.
Yes.
I would like you to handle the the gender equality angle for this next question that I'm going to ask, and this is based on the challenges that are faced by the young people in trying to promote empowerment. So what are the ones that maybe you've seen that are very difficult tasks or difficult areas for the youth to tackle in the journey towards empowerment and also in the journey towards gender equality, and how can we address these challenges?
I think the number one key thing we've seen is youth incompetency, whereby we lack the knowledge and the skills to be able to facilitate us to have the necessary skills for us to achieve our goals in life, especially in matters of the small things, starting by time management, savings, the small gaps we identify. When you're able to address those concerns, the incompetency part of it, because we find that the African setup, we are told, if you're not employed in an office, you're not working.
You don't have a job.
And currently, the world is evolving in a new style where you see the online, people are working online. You don't have to be employed. You can work even at home. So breaking the ISO gaps, the set norms by the community that you have to have an office.
Lazima uende 8 to 5.
So the incompetency part of it is to identify what is the challenges in our community and how can we able to solve the problem, and also part of it get income when doing the solving of it.
Right. That's great. Income, but also still getting skills in the process. Earlier you'd mentioned that when you are doing some of these forums and meetups, there's that question about what about the boy child?
Yes.
Are such statements part of the challenges that are there towards promoting gender equity? Because you're trying to solve an issue here, you're saying these lives matter, and you're saying all the lives matter.
Exactly.
So let's just focus on everyone.
Yes.
And what are some of the other challenges maybe that you can point out to us?
Okay, so for example, we'll start with looking at the triple threat. Triple threat comprises of sexual gender-based violence, unwanted pregnancy or unplanned pregnancy, and HIV infections. Most of the time we find that when it comes to pregnancy, we look at the girls, but are the boys involved? Do the girls get pregnant by themselves? So when you look at that from that angle, you see the need to bridge that gap, that you want boys to also be aware of their sexual health. I think looking at where we're coming from as a nation, we are coming from a place where girls were discriminated and we focused our effort in saving the girl child. But on the same breath, we left the boy child. And so in a bid to also, men, you also fight back. You also want to be felt. So boy child has been fighting for himself in different ways. Maybe through the depression you've seen, and we've seen how maybe the men are also not able to handle challenges, not able to handle life issues. You've seen how it has come to affect even the relationships that our young people are involving themselves in. So we go back to the root cause of this. So gender equality in our view as Vijana African Voices is where we empower you as a person, or rather we help you empower yourself, because we always have the solutions to our problems. You get so empowered that you're able to reach your optimum potential. And number two, you also do not, for example, an empowered man will not feel intimidated being with an empowered woman. But when there's power imbalance, then there's a problem. So gender equality will be won when we bring both gender on board. And that's what, as Vijana African, we are doing. We don't want to make a girl feel special than boys. We don't want the boy child to feel special than girls.
All right. And now coming back to you, founder. Evans, how can the youth work together with the government or government institutions in trying to promote empowerment? Because we know the government has very many resources, and we are always trying to say, oh, youth fund, or this and that and this and that. But maybe sometimes the channels of accessing this are a bit difficult, or a bit the information is a bit vague. Yeah. Are there ways that you've seen so far in the projects that you've done we can get to partner with the government and the youth?
Yes, I think when you're looking at youth empowerments, we have the 4 E's that are involved in youth empowerment. Number 1 is engagement. How is the county government able to engage the youth in the conversation of them being empowered? What does empowerment mean to them? Because as the government, you might find their empowerment part of it might mean different to what the community and the youth need at that moment. So involving men in the conversation. And then number 2, the second E, we call it educate. You have this forum, at times tunasikianga kuna forums are used for discussion of the budget, but we are not. Yes. So at times we also to blame because we don't tujitumi, because that's where we are able to say this money should be allocated for this and this part of it. So the part of education, and also part of, like I said, the skills, the small skills, getting to know if you're given this amount of money, how much are you supposed to save, how much is for investment, and that. Then the third E is called equipping them, equipping the skills, having platform. You've said the government have a lot of platform for youth to
access resources.
Yes. So being able to equip these youths with the necessary skills, equipment, and materials to be able to actualize whatever they have, because youths have a lot of innovative ideas. But at the end of the day, tunakaa tu nazo because we don't know where the platform to showcase them, the platform to share them. And the last one is, you find that when you do all the E's, you're able to empower these youths in our community.
And finally, now you've gotten to the final boss, the empowerment.
Yes.
Okay, Susan, how can we use, from before you guys came on air, we were having a discussion with an online-based medic currently, of course, to be posted to a physical healthcare institution, but they're utilizing their social media platform to help people deal with various healthcare issues. How can we use social media to advocate youth empowerment and gender equality? And is there a way that Vavi has been able to do that so far? I'll begin with you.
Okay. So social media, as we know, times have changed, and it has brought all of us into the same space. And we appreciate the essence of having a global world in a platform. So we have seen how youths, for example, the other day we had an issue of Jeff, and we saw how people rallied a hashtag for Jeff. He was a youth, and I'm sure most people who are using the hashtag, they are youths. So youths can use that to promote their skills as he has talked about skills. They can sell their merchandises online. They can also promote an agenda. We can come together the way we can, the way Kenya is brought together by a scenario. We come together and gag. We can also come and talk to the government, but we need to be in one voice. We need to also be in the same, in one spirit. When it comes to development, if we need to ask the government to do something for the youth, maybe to lower prices for something that will help the youth, we can come together. Vijana African Voices is in all social media platforms, and we're able to, first of all, send messages that we are able to also motivate, we're able to educate, we're able to bring our what we do online. So it is a great platform for us to showcase what we do. It is very important for youths out there to use social media positively, because a lot of times we use it negatively. We should be there talking to these people that we hardly see in their offices, but you can, if you're able to talk, they're very cautious of their image. So if you're able to go to the social media
and call them out,
they are able to get that. So social media is powerful. It is a powerful tool that can destroy and also make. Can we, the youths, focus on the positive side? Can we be positive? Can we be responsible? Because we've seen youths coming out also, coming out to maybe say something, and they're body shamed. So much has happened. They're bullied. Cyberbullying has become a crime in Kenya.